You know what I would love to start out with today, since we're just waiting for everybody to come. It's just 8:01. Can you guys put into the chat, like on a scale of 1 to 5, how you're feeling? Because I'm like at a 1. I would like to know, is it just me? Like 1 is really bad and a 5 is great. And you can see I dressed up for you all because I know the power of clothes. I even put on lipstick. I'm working on it. I'm trying. But I'm just like, after this weekend, I'm like, hi. So I would love to see what everybody else is thinking. 1 to 5. Oh, Beth, you're in my boat. Scarlett's in my boat. Okay. All right. You don't have to be in my boat. I'm hoping you're not, because then I'm going to crawl into yours. But the good news is we have 2 fabulous boat captains here. And if you're feeling like I'm feeling, that will be a good thing. So anyway, I want to welcome you to our Positive Mornings. Who's new here? Is anybody new? I'm looking around to see, because we want to say hello to you and welcome you in. If you're new, put that into the chat. Say hello to everybody so we can say hello to you. Christine. Oh, and just to let you all know, we launched our book club last week, and we're getting great reviews. So if you want to come join us, you have to be a member of Nest, but it's very inexpensive. You can come join us. It was our first maiden voyage, and people really liked it. We're going to change some things. Christine did a fabulous job of moderating, and people were really happy with it. I had a friend who's pretty picky, not a real friend, but somebody a little more distant, say, I didn't know what I was going to get, but I was really excited. The conversation was fabulous. I've been looking for a book club. She lives in New York, and she said, I couldn't find one, and now I found one. So we're going to read Laura Munson's book, which is, Christine, what's the name? I'm blanking. I'm fried this morning.
Willis Grove.
Willis Grove. And Laura's fantastic. She's a friend. She wrote, she's a New York Times bestselling writer. And so when she was so excited that we're going to do her book, she came back with a 4-part plan. I said, no, I think what we'll do an hour, maybe an hour and 15, Christine. She can't do anything less than an hour 15. Just be prepared. But she's going to run that show for us. And then I think what we'll do is we'll offer the, people who really want to deep dive. She's got 3 other hours planned for you. So anyway, but she's just such an interesting person, and a great writer. So anyway, here we go. So anybody else? So Scarlett and Kara, awesome. Thank you for joining us, guys. And we're so happy.
Mary Beth, too. Welcome.
Mary Beth. Oh, great. Awesome. There you are. Wonderful. We're so happy to have newbies here. This is really our premier program. Wendy and Dana are our amazing reinvention coaches, and they will dig you out of any hole that you're in on a Monday morning and throw you a lifeline and pump you up for Monday morning. And and then I hope that you will join us on other Covey programs and Covey webinars and come join the club, because it really is a lot of fun. So we're at 8:05. I'm going to turn it over to the wonderful captains, Wendy and Dana.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. I have to say it again. I've been saying this the last several times. No matter what we've planned for you, Lesley manages to set us up, to segue in, and she has no idea what the topic is. We don't tell her in advance. So crazy. We really are noticing with our colleagues, with our clients, with our friends and family, that people are nosediving emotionally. They're getting bored of this pandemic. The stuff you used to do is not really available to you anymore. And you've created, because you're amazing, some new patterns to get you through, and you really rallied over the summer, and now we've turned the corner into fall, and it feels like wah, wah. these things are now boring again. And the patterns are feeling more like traps to a lot of people. And folks that we talk to over and over again are saying, I'm in a funk and I don't know why. Nothing is any different than it was 2 days ago, but I'm really in a funk and I don't want to blame the pandemic anymore. And I don't want to blame politics anymore. And I just need to get myself out of this funk. And so all of funk is really pattern. And what we're going to talk to you today about is the adventure of novelty, of what happens when we break patterns and lean into something that feels new. I'm going to hand it over to Dana for a bit, and she's going to tell you all about that.
All right, so doing something new. So again, welcome to the three of you that are joining us new today. It's interesting. We were thinking about this topic, and it's a perfect topic, not only because of this collective funk I think that we're all experiencing, but it's September. And I feel like September is in some ways the new year. It's new notebooks. I always feel like it represents new exciting projects. To me, in many ways, September is more about newness than January is. But what really struck me was when I dropped my son off at college a few weeks ago. He's a freshman at OSU. He's already gotten COVID. He's fine. But when I dropped him off, and as I'm speaking to him, despite the fact that he's starting college in the midst of a global pandemic, all of his classes are online. He's meeting everybody with a mask on his face. He can't even dine in the dining room. He's having a ball. And the reason why he's having a ball is because everything is new. Everything is exciting. And if you think back to those times in our life when we felt most alive, I can just kind of rattle off a couple of my life, when I went to college, when I went backpacking in Europe with my friend Erin, when we have a new job or a new love, or we move to our new home, all those things stand out as so memorable in our lives. And yet we can create that sense of newness every single day in our life. Wendy talked about breaking pattern. We are creatures of habit, and we can all too often get into a habitual pattern where every single day feels like it's the same, and you start feeling like it's Groundhog Day, right? But yet we feel most alive when we do new things, when we get out of our comfort zone. And there's some real benefits, just biologically and emotionally when we do new things, ranging from boosting our creativity, boosting our brain power. We get a surge of energy. Again, we feel most alive when we do things that are new. Things are memorable. It's interesting. Science shows that we are much happier when we experience things, and when we experience things with other people versus when we buy things. And so there's something about that boost of happiness, but also when you experience something new, when you do something new, you remember it. And it makes it a memorable thing to reflect on later. Also, of course, we get to know ourselves better. We get to learn. We get to see new perspectives. We get to know more about ourselves. And the good news is we can interject newness into our everyday. Yesterday, it's interesting, Dave and I wanted to go for a walk at the end of the day, and we were going to go to Hammonasset, which is beautiful, but we chose instead to go to a new place. We went to a beautiful walk. It's on an old trolley trail in a town called Branford, right along the shoreline. And the fact that it was new, I was so jazzed. It was new, it was beautiful, we were taking photos. We're going to remember that walk more than if we went to Hammonasset, not necessarily because it's more beautiful, but because it was new. So our conversation today is about what are some of the things that we can do to interject something new into our life. This could be a new perspective. It could be speaking with somebody new. It could be showing up in a new way, deciding that when I'm waiting in the grocery line, instead of looking at my phone, I'm going to make an effort to talk to somebody new around me. It could be going to a new place. It could be, of course, an adventure, but it could be putting on a new outfit, putting on the lipstick Lesley talked about. Like, I'm going to put on the darn lipstick today. This feels new. This feels good today. It makes me feel good, right? So something new does not need to be earth-shattering. Something new could be just those little things that you choose to do each day. So what we're going to challenge you to do is to answer 2 questions as we break into groups today. For those of you actually that are new to our program, every one of our sessions we have a conversation, and oftentimes we break into dyad conversations. So on Zoom, we can actually break people into groups of 2. So what we're going to do today is break you into small groups of 2. For those of you that decide, you know, I'm not really into doing the small group thing, I'd rather have a little quiet room, we can put you into a quiet room so you can just reflect on your own. But for those of you that want to join the group, you're going to answer 2 questions. The first is, what is something new that you'd like to experience or try this week? Again, it could be something small, a new way to work if you're walking to work nowadays, a new way to the grocery store, right? Something new that you can experience this week. The second question is, what is something new that you'd like to do with somebody who is very important to you? It could be somebody in your family, it could be a dear friend, because interjecting that newness in a relationship is also very powerful. So something new you want to try this week, and something new you'd like to do with somebody that is close to you. So we'll break you into conversation groups, and then we'll come back to the main group and have a conversation about it. So welcome back. So what we'd love to do is just have a conversation about, you know, what showed up for you. Why don't we take each question individually? What is the thing that you would love to do that's new this week? And as always, put your thoughts in the chat. And if you'd like to share your voice in the room, put me in the chat. For those of you that are new, we'd love this to be a conversation. So if you'd like to chime in and share your thoughts, please do put me. We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you, Christine. Right back at you, sister.
Something new that you'd like to try this week.
Scarlett, one of our new people.
Okay. So I keep putting off writing a particular blog about Gayle King, and I keep chickening out. And so I'm now determined to do it this week. So
Awesome.
All right.
Basically, I just have this obsession that I want to work with her, and the fact that colors wear her instead of she wearing colors.
Oh, I see.
So
You know, you do a lot of that for TV, right, Scarlett? They tell you on TV you've got to wear these hideous colors all the time.
yeah, well, she's obsessed with orange and yellow.
Uh-huh.
And puts her pictures on Instagram and says, I know this is bad. And then she gets all these comments, and I want to help her not need to make fun of herself, you know. So
Ben, you should reach out to her. I mean, I'm sure maybe somebody's reading her messages. You should reach out, like make a visual for her and just send it to her and post it on Instagram in a message.
yeah, I could tag it on Instagram. That's right. Thank you.
You never know. Sometimes people actually read the stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Scarlett. Carol Jackson, what do you have for us today?
Hi, everyone. Good to see you.
Hey, Carol.
Yeah, this was so perfect for me because I was just realizing that COVID winter is coming, people, and I cannot handle this winter in Boston. And because for me, the only way I get through a winter in Boston is skiing every weekend. And the skiing is going to be very different this year. It's already been told that you can't even go in the lodge unless you go to the bathroom. You got to put on your boots from the car. It's at 50%. You have to have a season pass. You have to call to make a reservation. I'm like, okay, I'm out. So I am moving to North Carolina for the Sure. I am actually going with my cat. We're going to drive down to North Carolina. So I'm flying out October 1st for the weekend to check it out. I'm going to drive to Asheville as well and check out Asheville, and then and Greenville, South Carolina too. Someone told me to check out. So I'm not 100% convinced it's going to be Charlotte, but it may be Charlotte. But it's going to be somewhere from January through April. I am not in Boston, so I have to tell you, it has changed my complete. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I can't even wait to so I have something to look forward to. So Wendy and Dana, you were so dead on. It's like, change it up, do a little adventure or something, because I now have that to look forward to, and I'm doing okay.
I'm so happy for you.
There are lots of rentals in the Maroney across the street from me, and we have the best food in the world. And
Actually, we were
nice
just,
corn.
my God, that is so funny. In our breakout room, she was like, why don't you go to New Orleans, where Lesley is? I'm like, actually, because it's a little bit farther drive because I can't fly with my cat. So I
Yeah,
have to drive. Yeah.
You can fly with a cat. We flew down with our kitties. You can take them.
Every cat's different though.
Oh, sorry.
Hi,
You
Carol.
know my cat.
Okay.
Hey, it's Tina. I just want to say, Carol, that I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. So reach out to me and we can connect when you come down, or I can give you some opinions on things.
Oh my gosh, Tina.
Yes.
Tina, thank you so much.
You're
That's
welcome.
awesome.
Who was that?
I will totally reach out. Tina,
Yeah.
thank you.
Carol, your enthusiasm, your energy is like bouncing off the screen.
Marissa just
Right.
posted the positive morning contact sheet. So make sure if you're not both already on it, make sure that you put yourselves on it. Who else has something from your breakout that you'd like to share with us? I see that Sigrid is going to teach her granddaughter and her friends yoga. That's fantastic. I love it.
And Meow interviewing your mom. to
Oh my
return
God,
to
that's
old history.
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thanks to Lisa Hayes. That's her suggestion. I just totally love it. That's what I've always wanted to do.
Beautiful.
That's a fantastic
Something always
idea. I
start.
might do that. Anybody else on this question before we move on to the next question? Okay. So what came up for you when you started talking about what you can do in your relationships that would be something that's new?
And I have to say, this is a big one. You know, I think a lot of times, especially in the relationships with people that we've been with forever, right? It can become same old, same old. And as soon as we shake it up, we get this new energy, this new vibrance interjected into the relationship. And you get to know that person differently. You get to connect in a different way. It's a beautiful thing to do. And again, it can just be those little things.
So there's a puppy in Trish and her husband's life. Carol is learning paddleball. Heloise is going on new walks like Dana did. Those are all such powerful ways to sort of break the pattern. You can also break patterns in the way that you communicate, and maybe we'll talk about that in a moment, but Pam's got something to say to us. Pamela.
Hi, everyone. This is my first session with you, so
Oh, good morning.
Welcome.
nice to be here. This is more of a renewal, if that counts, but my son and I used to play a lot of tennis together, and it's been about 4 years probably where I haven't played. And Saturday, we went out for the first time in a long time. He's 17, so he's going through the whole college interview. So we really needed something to get outside. I get outside, I run a lot, but to get the teenage boys outside has been difficult lately. So we went out on the court and hit for an hour. It was just so nice. And again, it's obviously not just the playing tennis, it's the bonding. It's, it's just being together and having those moments to just, have those open spaces to talk. And it was great. So definitely, weather permitting, for a couple more months, we'll have some tennis together. So it was lovely.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing, Pamela. And I can interject. I have 3 boys, 2 are teenagers and 1 is 20. And I totally understand what you're saying on finding those moments that you can connect. Because sometimes getting that conversation really flowing is hard when you're face to face asking your questions, but when you're doing something together, the conversation just flows much more easily. Yeah. Beautiful.
Danielle's husband is having bariatric surgery. That is huge. Lots of changes come along with that. And we talked about this, I think, in one of the either camp, Danielle, or navigating change. It is difficult to be on the other side of someone's enormous change, even when we're really excited for them. There will be patterns in your lives that are such an important part of of the way that your world works together, or that feels like it's an important part of it, that may need to change or shift because of the new patterns he's going to have to create as a result of this surgery. And so be really aware of your own knee-jerk reactions of trying to hold on to things and patterns that were before, because they may disrupt the new ones that are going to make for a better future for him and for you both as a couple. Big changes like that activate our unfamiliar alarm in the limbic system. So it's a really important thing to keep your eye on, and notice that new patterns become familiar really quickly, and that you just have to lean into them when it's something that's important like this. You should totally, oh yeah, I hear you, baby.
One thing I wanted to interject too is there's a lot of science behind the benefits of having something to look forward to. So in the spirit of creating or welcoming more newness in our life and getting out of our comfort zone, part of that is also just creating something to look forward to, right? Whether it's you personally, what do I want to look forward to today? And if there isn't something that you're looking forward to, create it. And in line with today's conversation, create something new. I just want to look forward to this one little new thing today. And in your relationships, what is something that we can do to look forward to? And whether it's today, whether it's this week, having that thing to look forward to is really important. And especially in your relationships, goes a long way towards connecting you, because now you have that common thing you're looking forward to. And that new shared experience is something now that the two of you connect and will always reflect back on as a memory. And again, the newness doesn't need to be, I'm moving to a new location, right? It can be something as small as, I want to go for a walk in a new place. Let's try a new dinner that we cook together tonight. Let's listen to some music tonight instead of turning on the TV. Let's go out and do a fire pit instead of, right? It can be those little things that you do together that make that night, make that day memorable.
So I'm going to give you guys a bonus tool before we get to the tool section, since there's not a me in the chat right now. Something new that you can do in your relationships is drop the rope. So any relationship that you have where there is a pattern of communication that doesn't go well, one of those relationships where, whether it's your kid or a spouse or a parent or a friend, where you go in and you say, okay, we're going to have this conversation, and this time it's going to be different. Here's what I'm going to do this. It's going to be different than, and you start the conversation, and no matter how hard you try, you end up in the same place with this person over and over and over again. One of the easiest ways out of that, and I'm not talking about changing your mind or changing what's important to you about this relationship or about the things that you talk about, but try breaking the pattern by dropping your end of the rope. Just letting go of it, letting it be. You'd be surprised at how that small break in pattern shifts everything that comes next in the conversation. So easy thing to try, drop the rope. And Karen, we have a me.
Hi. Yeah, just sorry about my stationary photo. Okay, so I just was thinking about this, and I was also thinking that the newness doesn't have to even be something actually new. It's just an appreciation. I call it like the paper cut effect, like when you cut your hand and you're like, damn, if I could just go back 2 seconds and not have this paper cut, or when you're cooking and you burn your arm and you're like, if I could just go back and be more careful in a few, like rewind and be more appreciative of just that moment I had before. I just have a more awareness of gratitude that I didn't have a sore throat when I woke up this morning or something of that nature. It feels fresh to see it from that perspective.
I love that. That's beautiful, Karen. We don't notice when we don't have a sore throat. And
Right.
just to make note of those things that are wonderful in our lives can bring that forward. I have a couple of questions about an example on dropping the rope. I'll give you one from my own life. This is from years ago. My son is a really, really smart, talented kid who absolutely hated high school. Like, he tested off the charts I mean, really off the charts, especially in math. And yet he he did fail Algebra 2 for the year, his junior year. He almost didn't graduate because of it. It was really, really difficult for my husband and I. And we saw one of the contributing factors as this bizarre sleep pattern of his. He is awake all night, and then he is sleeping during the day, or it will shift a little bit. Like he's on this rotating sleep pattern where half of the time he's awake during the night. And we really would try to support him, and we'd have all these conversations, but in the back of our head, this kid's got to have better sleep hours. So sleep is the issue. He's got to have better sleep hours. And we'd go in and we'd have these conversations, and it would end up in this tug of war over us talking at him about how he needed to regiment his sleep and give him new ideas of how, and offer sleep clinics and spreadsheets and melatonin and anything that we could come up with that we thought would solve the problem that we thought that our son was having. And what happened is we got into constant this with him, and our relationship, which we're a really close family, like we lost him for a couple of years. He was not communicating with us about anything that mattered to him anymore. He was still his jolly self at the dinner table when he came to dinner. But we lost that deep communication with him for a while. And when we let go of that rope and said, okay, let this kid be who he is, we have to trust that we gave him what he needs to figure out himself, to figure out how to solve his problems, to figure out how to lean into what's right for him. We have to trust that he's going to do that. And we stopped completely. We stopped saying, you're late for school. I mean, that's hard when you have a kid who's brilliant and you're afraid isn't going to graduate. We stopped all of that. And he graduated, and he's at Berklee College of Music right now in his junior year. He's on the dean's list. He is still up all night. He's a musician. He found the thing that works for him. And at this point in time, the kid had never picked up an instrument. By his junior year in high school, he had no interest in music. He had never picked up an instrument. He found all of that on his own, even that late in life. So dropping the rope, trusting that someone can figure it out, trusting that your relationship can weather it, even when you really believe that something is so right and has such huge, is a way in to reconnecting. Trust is a way in to reconnecting. So I hope that helps. And we've got still a meditation and a tool, but Andrea has a me, and I want to make sure that we let her share before we do our tool and meditation.
I was just thinking, because I was talking to Sigrid and I didn't have something came to mind. So I've been having trouble sleeping. So I go to an integrative medicine doctor at Sloan, and we had a video call the other day. And she did all these assessments, things you would love, Wendy and Dana, and all that. And there was nothing deep that she could find. And she gave me some simple rules, which I've heard about, you tell me something 50 times, maybe I'll listen. And one of them was, I can't hang out in my bedroom. She goes, beds are for sleep and for intimacy, nothing else. And I don't love my bedroom. I like sitting on my bed. I like watching TV. I like using my computer, and I'm not allowed. So now all of a sudden I have this fairly big, normal size house. But if my husband's watching something in the family room and someone's upstairs, I have to now go in the living room. Now I'm torturing myself. And this is instead of being fun, it's like, I have to watch something in that room. I have to read my book in that room. And I just miss my room. So it was just reminding me of something, breaking a pattern. But first 3 nights I slept well. Last night I didn't. So I don't know the answer, but I'm just mumbling. But it was just interesting how things that you do can change by just moving yourself around and not, being stuck. But I just miss sitting on my bed. I'm not allowed.
Andrea, I'm glad that we got your me in, because it's a perfect segue to the tool that I want to offer you guys about patterns today and about breaking patterns. Whatever you're doing in your life, whether it's a reinvention of your entire life or whether it's just, I need to prepare for the COVID winter, Changing patterns is the easiest way into feeling better, to feeling energized, to making change that sticks. And you can do that. I'm going to give you two completely different examples. I'm sorry that she's not here today since I'm giving her a shout out, but one of our Positive Morning members, Cindy Burkhart, wanted to reinvent her life. A decade ago, I wanted to reinvent my life. Cindy sold everything she had. She left her job. She decided she was going to tour the world and write about it, and completely turned her entire life upside down. Rapid reinvention. All of those pattern changes, all of those difference in environment force a change in patterns. Her life is incredibly different than it was just a year ago because she turned the entire thing upside down. That's a way to break patterns and change your life. I loved a lot of my life. I have a family. I had 2 kids they're 19 and 21 right now. 10 years ago, they were little kids. I didn't want to turn my entire life upside down. It took me 10 years to have a completely different life than I did then. But by changing simple patterns, dropping the rote, reading different books, changing my friend group up a little bit, meeting new people, changing the way that I spoke to myself in my head, changing the way that I spoke to others, about other people, about myself. All of those tiny, tiny shifts broke the patterns of my old life. And they were 40-something years in the making at that point, right? I wasn't a kid when I started down this journey. And a decade later, I have a completely different life. I live in a different place. My kids do different things. My relationship with my husband was always great. It is incredibly great. I have a completely different job and career. So whether your shifts are tiny or whether they're huge, breaking patterns is the easiest way to create change that sticks. Because as you break an old pattern, you're creating a new one. And the more you repeat it, the more your brain will love you for it and hold on to it and grow in that direction. Okay, so that's your tool. Look for the patterns in your lives and fiddle with them a bit. They're the way into change. And now we're going to take a moment and have a meditation together. So I'd like you to all get comfy in your seats. And close your eyes. And we're going to start by just noticing the breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Keep your attention on your breath or on the sound of my voice. You don't have to do anything. There's no place that you need to be. We're here together in this space, creating an energy to set us up for a day and a week of positivity, of connection, of joy. Follow your breath as it goes into your body. And as you release it out into the atmosphere, and use the energy of that to separate from your physical body. Blow yourself out of your body with the air as you exhale it, and float above yourself and look down. Watch yourself as you're breathing. And now begin to explore the space around you. Imagine that this were your last day here on Earth. Look around at your environment, right in the room that you're in. Think about the people. Fly over and take a look at the people that you care about, whether they share your physical environment or whether they're somewhere else. And look at just the simplicity of the things around you, of the people that you love. No big things, no goals, no outcomes that we need to make happen. Just the smile on their faces, the cat in the corner of the room, the book on the nightstand, the yard or the street in front of the building. What remains unexplored? What simple things around you can you see with new eyes this week? Can you appreciate with gratitude? Can you lean in and love just for the simple fact that they exist? Fly about a little bit and take a look around and see what you'd like to bring back with you so that you can act upon it this week. And as you do, you can bring your attention back to your breath, bringing back with you the sense of calm, sense of simplicity, sense of novelty in what you thought you knew before. And as you bring your attention back to your breath, I'll count to 5 and you can open your eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, Lesley.
Okay, it's me. I hate doing, I'm the one that always has to go. So, anyway, thank you all for being here. I just want to tell you about a few things we're up to. One that's really, really great, and you might want to pass this along to friends you know who are in this situation. We're taking the idea of reinvention for the fall and getting your new your new notebooks and all that to the nth degree. So Wendy and Dana, and I'm going to join in because I need this course. We're creating a course which is called Build Your Own Business Coaching Group, which will, these guys will explain the details to you. And you'll also, if you sign up on that sheet, Marissa will include everybody in the sheet for Positive Mornings in the email if you're not on our email for CoveyClub. But what this is going to be, it came out of all the research that I've been doing. I've been doing some deep dives with a bunch of you to see how we can make CoveyClub better. And one of the things people are asking for people who are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs or are actually on their way to being entrepreneurs now, how can we make that transition easier for you? So it's a 12-month program that's part coaching, part skill development for ambitious entrepreneurs and creatives. And we're going to build the different courses around who's in the group. And it could be, my hope is that it's the group that I needed when I started out. I wasted so much time and so much money because I didn't even know where to find a lawyer if I needed a lawyer. Before I started talking to a friend, we should have had an agreement that we didn't have, and so it blew up the friendship. Which, if you were going to do a mail kind of thing, which mail system to use, that was, 3 months of researching and all this stuff that can be done so much faster among friends and people who know.
It's 9 o'clock.
We'll bring in experts to teach each group depending on what you want. You're going to get a full email on that today, which will go out to everybody, and you'll see the details. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me, Marissa, Wendy, or Dana. All our information will be on there. And then the other thing, and I'll get Wendy and or Dana to expand on that in a minute, but I just want to tell you, tomorrow is the DIY beauty and self-care, how to make your own facial treatments, lip scrubs, seaweed baths, all that stuff. It's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's with Tracy Ryan, Codex's beauty managing director and master formulator. That'll be really fun. If you want something new, that'll be new. It'll teach you how to do stuff, a little self-care for yourself. Bring friends, it's free. And I need you all to show up. We need a big group because this is my one sponsor. Please come. And then Wednesday, we have negotiating strategies for women, get what you want while being yourself. And that's with Jen D'Alessandro, an attorney and president of Blue Jay Strategies. And you're going to learn tips for negotiating everything from a deal to a raise to a promotion to a divorce and how to get the best out of your kids. All of this stuff is in our letter. Make sure that you are signed up for the letter from Lesley. You're now going to get it twice a week to remind you what's out there. A lot of people said we weren't staying on top of presenting for you everything that we are offering, and you were missing things. So Wendy or Dana, do you want to go into detail a little bit about the...
Yeah. We're kind of over, but I think like in 30 seconds,
30 seconds, yeah.
What's really important to know about this group, Dana and I have worked with solopreneurs and entrepreneurs for years. We as women, especially in that solopreneurial mindset, make the same mistakes. No matter what your business is, it's the same learning curve over and over and over again. And what we have found is the remedy to it. It comes in two parts. One, you need to know what you don't know. You need access to the right experts. You need to be able to ask the right questions. That's why half of these calls are us curating the kinds of experts that each particular group needs and putting you in front of them. And you need a bit of coaching to get out of your head about being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, how to sell yourself as a service rather than a product, or how to sell a product that is so near and dear to your heart that all of a sudden it feels very different than all of your wild, incredible business rock star experience in the past. So the combination we have found of this really intensive, right for you coaching and putting you in front of the kinds of experts you need to start up a business has really been a gold mine, and the folks that we have worked with in the past have really done incredibly well. So we hope that if you are a solopreneur and entrepreneur, you'll join us. And if you know someone who needs the service, you'll let them know about it. We'd love to have you in this group.
One thing I'd love to highlight too, just one real quick thing I just want to highlight too. The group will consist of people that are at different stages of their entrepreneurial journey. And of course, everybody will have different businesses. We are going to be surveying or asking of you what is most helpful to you. And that way, the experts that we bring in will be speaking directly to the needs of the group. So we just want to make that very, very clear that your voice will be heard on what help do you need, what experts do you want to hear from, and we'll be bringing them into the group. So anyway, we've gone over our time. I did put my email in the chat. If you want to reach out with any questions, I'd be happy to hop on the phone with you. And we hope to see you in the group.
Great. Thanks, guys. Good to see you. Have a good week. All right.
Everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.